So before we really begin, I'd like to share a story if that's all right with all of you. About a year ago, I sat in a psychiatrist's office staring at my doctor as he said these words to me. "We're going to go ahead and prescribe you Lamictal for bipolar." You see, these words had never been uttered to me before, and I thought that diagnosis meant that I was crazy or something was wrong with me. And as I sat in that room, which suddenly felt stone cold, I cried. I'm not going to be dishonest. Bipolar disorder is a very difficult disorder to live with, but I'm actually one of the more fortunate patients. By the time of my diagnosis, there was already treatment available, and psychiatry was already a widely accepted field of medicine. This is due to advocates in the past who fought for the treatment and further exploration of mental disorders. One of these advocates was Emil Kraepelin, a German psychiatrist who researched the connection between mental illness and brain biology. In a time where mental disorders were highly stigmatized, that being the 1800s, he worked to debate the pseudoscientific reasoning behind mental illness. Kraepelin not only valued scientific understanding of mental illness, but he did so much more for patients suffering from psychological disorders. According to an article by Brought to Life Science Museum, he was in opposition to most hypotheses of his day, as he did not support leading theories that certain singular symptoms were characteristics of a specific illness. Although it would have been easier to accept the way of the time, a way that most likely would have given him as much recognition as others in his field, such as Sigmund Freud, he alternatively fought the beliefs of other scientists. He instead used scientific observation to find that a specific combination of symptoms were needed to identify with a mental disorder. A quote by Kraepelin himself states, "The causes of the malady we must seek, as it appears, essentially in morbid predisposition." This is a direct reference to the truth about the origin of mental illness that Kraepelin was determined to find, contrary to the scientific norms. Now, you may be wondering, why is this important? Why am I listening to this? Why does any of this matter? And while I understand that to some of you, this may mean absolutely nothing, but to me, it's very important. Kraepelin's work, in my opinion, was revolutionary for his era. As reported by the Britannica, the scientific basis behind Kraepelin's work allowed him to create his own form of nosology, which is a branch of medicine dealing with the classification of mental disorders. Kraepelin's studies inspired those of which who revised editions of the DSM, which is our standard for classifying specific branches of mental disorders. His research is also still used in the international classifications of diseases today. Emil Kraepelin was extremely passionate about his work, so much so that at one point, it resulted in him losing his position as a physician due to extensive amount of time spent in Wilhelm Wundt's laboratory. It was thanks to this dedicated research that Kraepelin is able to be remembered as an influential founder of psychopharmacology and as a scientist who persevered against the uncommon ways of his research. Emil Kraepelin's studies had a massive impact on modern psychiatry and how it is used to understand mental illness based on scientific concepts. Without his studies, the research that mental disorders require to make an accurate diagnosis and to understand the underlying causes of them may not have been uncovered. And the pseudoscientific ways of the 1800s may have still been prevalent in our medical research today. He was not only a representative of scientific principles, but an advocate for those of which who could not fight for themselves, whether it be his own patients or people in the present that have been able to find treatment due to his research. People like me. Thank you.